And gentlemen, you are live.
Hi again, I'm Michael Clark, live here at LTV. It is May the 19th, and as we do every Wednesday at 2 p.m., we bring you Ask the Supervisor, where you can do just that. Ask the East Hampton Town Supervisor, Peter Van Scoyoc, questions about ongoing events, ideas, anything you'd like to chat about in the town. Hello, Peter. Welcome.
Hi, Michael. Good to be here.
Good to see you. And thanks as always for making yourself available to field questions, listen to the ideas, or just generally chat live here on LTV's Channel 22 and the LTV YouTube page. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions, simply dial the number on the top of your screen and you'll be put into queue to speak. And if you prefer, you can also send the questions to Michael Clark at ltveh.org. And I'll be checking my email prior to and during the show. And we will read those questions aloud to Peter. So feel free to call in and ask the supervisor. So, Peter, as always, it's been a busy week and there's plenty to talk about until folks call in. I know today, May the 19th, is the New York State lifted the COVID-related capacity restrictions at restaurants and other businesses as of today. And I know that the town of East Hampton, you specifically, are helping local business owners to navigate the changing regulatory landscape, masks, no masks, what to do, what they're supposed to be, where they're supposed to be lining up and whatever. And you provided the business owners with a comprehensive guide to the key information on state and town rules. Why don't you give us a little bit about what's going on with that, Peter?
Well, you're absolutely right, Michael, that May 19th is a big day in New York. The governor has said that we've now reached that point where the restrictions on business occupancies can be lifted. The only remaining restriction is that you still need to keep the 6-foot social distancing. So as long as you can comply with that, interior businesses can reach their full occupancy under what the fire code would be. That's a very positive step. I got notification today that the county updates as to the infection rate and the number of cases in the county, that daily reporting will be suspended unless, we see a return to much higher numbers. But the rates have gone down below 1% now pretty consistently for infection. The vaccines still are circulated throughout the community. People are still being vaccinated. We recently did 129 vaccinations in Montauk last Thursday. We have an upcoming pod for 12 years and up at the CDCH building this Saturday. That will be probably a 12-hour event. We have working with East End Pediatrics. Now they are eligible to get vaccine due to the dropping of that age. So a lot of school kids will be coming in to get vaccinated. It's open to anyone 12 and up. You can pre-register East End Pediatrics or just come day of. So there's that. Town hall offices opened today to the public. We had the clerk's office and the annex in Montauk open, as well as tax receiver, but now all the regular offices will be open. We are asking that people continue to wear their masks indoors in those office settings until we can get everybody vaccinated and to socially distance 6 foot. But those offices are back dealing directly with the public. That's another great sign that we're coming out of this pandemic. So that's pretty much where we stand.
There's still a lot of confusion, I think, generally nationwide in terms of what it is we can do and what we can't do. I'm still wearing my mask. I don't know, maybe just deal with it on an individual basis. But what guidance can you give us, Peter, in terms of the town of East Hampton and going into stores? I mean, they're allowed to set their own guidelines in the store, aren't they?
That's correct. And I've spoken to several business owners that are going to continue to ask people to wear their masks. I think it's a sign of show of respect for others right now until we get a little bit further removed from the pandemic. Again, there are still people who haven't been vaccinated yet, haven't had an opportunity for one reason or another, although we have made vaccine available here to thousands. So, I think people are being somewhat cautious at first here, and I think that's the right approach. But outside, I don't think you really need to be concerned about wearing a mask unless you're in a setting where you're very close to other people. Transmission rates are extremely low, and we're probably initially overstated for outdoor transmission.
I guess one of the common things you've heard is that, people saying, well, how do I know? How do I know that people are telling the truth? We don't have the scarlet letter on the forehead, right? I mean,
right.
It's we got to take people's word for it. But I guess the good part is the fact that, if you're vaccinated, you've done all you can do, really, to stop the transmission. And I guess they've come out with new data saying that, the chances of you even getting it at this point are pretty low. So, I guess you go on a day-by-day basis to see, where it takes us, right?
Right. And I think, people who've made a conscious decision not to be vaccinated for whatever reason, and, I guess, some people, may have, legitimate reasons or concerns, but, I think vaccine hesitancy is really very unfortunate. And I think due to the politicization of public health crisis. But, because they've made that choice, then, I think that choice is theirs to make. And the fallout from that is, on them. I would just say that in a time where we haven't really vaccinated everybody who wants to be vaccinated, that people who are unvaccinated really should continue to wear a mask, because they're not just endangering their own health, and they're potentially endangering those who are immunocompromised or who can't take the vaccine or haven't had an opportunity yet. So I think that's the basis upon which we're dealing with asking people to continue to wear masks, at least for the interim.
And as you said, it is a requirement at town hall, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
For the time being, and that that's subject to change, and we're going to take it slow. We still think it's important to protect public health, and again, not everybody's had an opportunity, I think, yet to be vaccinated. Although the number of those who want vaccine and haven't gotten it yet is declining, and so we've seen those numbers decline at our clinics. But now we have a whole new population, 12 and over. So that 12 to 16 group just opened up, and it's likely that the vaccine will be approved for even younger children. So we'll continue to see groups who are not eligible now become eligible. So I think it's important just to, especially indoors when you're around other people, to continue wearing masks.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a hard left-hand turn here and talk about something completely different that I just found out about that I thought was really interesting. I think you're involved in it, Peter. I think. But I was in touch recently with a group that I knew very little about called the South Fork Sea Farmers. And my understanding is that you too are a sea farmer, or at least a sea gardener, if you will. And can you tell us a little bit about what that initiative is?
Sure. Absolutely. So I think it's 4 years ago now that as Liaison to Aquaculture, I sponsored a program of oyster gardening, whereby we engaged the public, residents, to come and help us grow oysters, initially at the hatchery, rather the nursery at Gann Road. And out of the 10 initial participants, of which I was one, that blossomed into a program that's very well liked and supported. And we're over 100 participants in 5 harbors now raising oysters. And the way the program works is you take seed oysters, you raise them, you get to keep half, and the other half goes back to be scattered about in town waters as putbacks and to help build the ecosystem. The benefits of oysters are that they filter, an adult oyster can filter up to 50 gallons of water a day. They eat algae, so it helps keep algal blooms in check. It helps purify the waters. It provides habitat for a whole myriad of animals. Oyster beds are known for harboring refuge for crabs and other shellfish, crustaceans, and whatnot, which in turn feeds other finfish and juvenile fish. So it's an important part of the ecosystem. So that's been extremely popular. So the South Fork Sea Farmers is a separate organization that also promotes that. It's not affiliated directly with the town, although there has been some cross-pollination, if you will, between participants in that program. And they've been, very active promoting the growing of shellfish, both recreationally and commercially.
Yeah, I tell you, we met with them. Jason and I did, our broadcast engineer, because we're going to be getting involved with them here at LTV. They're going to be holding monthly lectures and things like that we're going to be broadcasting. But I didn't realize that there was like three different phases of some of it's like I knew about the hatchery in I guess Napeague, right? But I didn't realize that it kind of starts off at Montauk and there's three different phases of this. And these folks are really into it. And that's the South Fork Sea Farmers are really all about educating the public on the benefits of this. And, of course, that's where we can help them out here at LTV is by driving the message for them as well. But I just found it really interesting, really, really nice folks. And they really have their thoughts in the right place in terms of driving the message. And what I found interesting too was I think somewhere along the line they're going to have this monthly kind of series. But one of them is a debate, and I was like, well, what's the debate for? And they said, well, there's actually two schools of thought. There are the people that are the sea farmers or the sea gardeners, as they will call them, were people that just had a small amount, and then there's a group of people that apparently don't like the fact that these things are floating around, or I don't really know the details of that, but do you know anything about that part of it, Peter?
Sure, absolutely. So, the gear for raising oysters has changed over time. Back in the early years, there were wild oysters. Then they started planting oysters, taking in areas of sea bottom, bay bottom, and dispersing young oysters and building oyster reefs, and then just harvesting off the bottom. Then people started realizing they could grow out oysters in bags to protect them from predators, and also makes recovering them very simple. You don't have to just haphazardly try to scrape them off the bottom, not seeing them. You can just raise the bag up. And as things progressed, people realized that, oysters are feeding on phytoplankton and algae and whatnot, and that those are photoreactive organisms. So daylight hours, they tend to move through the water column up towards the surface. And if you floated cages with the oysters, that they would grow much faster. And so that brought into conflict various user groups within the waterways. So now boaters might be concerned about rafts of floating oyster cages in areas where they weren't before. And so trying to mitigate, some of those concerns and potential situations of conflict, there's been a lot of review. So about 10 years ago, Suffolk County, which was granted sort of the rights over the bottomland for most of the Peconics and portions of East Hampton waters beyond the trustee jurisdictions, they started a program of aquaculture leases, trying to promote aquaculture, clamming and oyster farming. And so they put out these leases, and initially that floating gear at the time hadn't really been developed or used. So people who had the leases had the right to oyster farm on those areas. Lo and behold, the technology changes. Now there are floating cages on these lease sites.
Okay.
In some cases, they're in direct conflict with neighboring yacht clubs and whatnot. So
Right.
the county's reviewed that 10-year plan. They're making adjustments to it. So there is some ongoing conflict, but I think, the future of fisheries and fishing, at least a great part of it, I think will be centered around aquaculture and the growing and gardening and farming of aquatic species. Because I think, on the one hand, natural stocks probably can't withstand the kind of demand that we have for seafood. So we need to be growing our own, if you will, rather than just extractive from the environment.
Well, I look forward to the discussion and these educational series that this group is bringing forward. It's just, it's such a big part of who we are out here on the East End. As a reminder, folks, please voice your ideas, opinions, or concerns here on Channel 22 every Wednesday at 2 p.m. It's your opportunity to speak directly to the supervisor and share your thoughts. Feel free to call in on that number on the top of the screen, and we'll get you talking to Peter. What else is going on, Peter? What's hot on the town?
Well, most recently for me, I just got off our call with Montauk Wastewater Committee, looking at the potential of developing a community wastewater system for downtown Montauk. Highly densely developed area of businesses with antiquated septic systems, and one of the negative things about it, aside from the potential and known impacts to our water quality, both groundwater and surface waters, is the fact that some of the town's efforts, such as trying to promote affordable housing within the community, are stymied by the fact that the wastewater flows are limited and dictated by those requirements dictated by the county, and most of these properties can't meet those requirements. They're grandfathered in terms of septic flow, which means they can't take advantage of building affordable housing above storefronts, which is something that's allowed under the town code and something we've promoted and supported for a number of years. So without a community, the only solution really is to have a community wastewater treatment. That opens up a lot of possibilities for development and redevelopment within the existing zoning limitations. And, we're not talking about busting zoning here. We're just talking about complying with zoning. So, that's one of the other benefits to it. So we had a discussion about that. We've hired consultants to help us draw up the district map and plan. That work is ongoing, and we expect to have that work ready to present by this fall.
Great. And, I just got an email in from Armanoush. Sorry if I mispronounced this. Armanoush Persico. Let's call it Armanoush Persico. Okay. And he says, hi, thank you for the new ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. What is the town doing to inform lawn care companies? Many, it seems, are not aware. How will the town enforce it? And are neighbors supposed to report on each other? Can this ban be extended year-round or with more limited hours? And can the ban be extended to gas-powered hedge trimmers?
Okay, well, there's a lot there, but I'll start with yes. Tomorrow is actually the first day of restrictions for the use of gas-powered, diesel-powered leaf blowers. They're not permitted from May 20th to September 20th. This is new legislation that we passed this past winter. And, it's been an ongoing process of trying to educate the public. We've been handing out flyers to all the landscaping contractors as they do their permit renewals. We've been posting on social media. We're going to continue doing that. We have more posts coming up this week. And in terms of enforcement, I think, there's got to be a little bit of a grace period here. What will happen is people will be notified as to the restriction, and their names will be taken, and they'll be informed what the regulations are and basically made aware of that. And in the effort to seek compliance with that rule, you can actually use electric leaf blowers during this period. And, that's part of what we're hoping to do, because, gas-powered leaf blower is not just extremely noisy and disruptive to people's lives, but they also, emit significant amounts of air pollution. They're 2-cycle engines, and I think they only combust about 3/4 of the fuel that comes out of them, and the rest is coming out just as an aerosol of oil and fuel mixture. Not good to breathe if you're operating one of those. So we'd like people to transition to the quieter, greener electric blowers. That's part of what we're encouraging, and that's why they're still allowed to be used.
And another part of the question that he asked was, can the ban be extended to gas-powered hedge trimmers?
So I think at this point, we haven't really taken that up. I suspect that the gas-powered leaf blowers, while they're currently only restricted now from May to September, that may be extended somewhat. And it may eventually lead to other gas-powered. Most tool companies are already taking this into account, and they're transitioning because they see where the market's going. We're moving away from fossil fuels across every sector of the economy where we can. Now we can't do without those fossil fuel powered equipment in all cases. But wherever we can, we should be trying to make that transition. That's something the town's been doing. We now have an electric powered riding mower, which we're using to mow the town hall site. It's very powerful, works very well.
You can trial that at my house, Peter. Bring that over to my house, trial it at my house.
I'd love to. You have a big enough lawn to use it. It's not a small little machine. It's pretty significant industrial. And so it's something that we're trying to lead by example as well. We're transitioning our vehicle fleet from gas powered to hybrids and electric vehicles wherever we can. We've been expanding the electrical vehicle infrastructure with 12 new chargers in Montauk. There's a half dozen at Town Hall, the airport, the train station, Amagansett parking lot. So this is all part of our effort to help protect our local environment, keep our waters clean, and reduce noise levels.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't know if I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but the amount of pollution that the 2-cycle, the ones the guys wear on their back and the leaf blowers that they're using, like, compared to a car, is just like so much more than a regular automobile, which was amazing to me. I don't know what the numbers are, but it was incredible.
Yeah, I know that all those statistics are online if you want to look it up, and you're absolutely right. Very, very high in emissions, and you couple the emissions with the noise impacts, and the fact that there are much cleaner and safer alternatives, quieter alternatives. We'd like to see people move towards those other alternatives.
And I just had one more question come in, Peter, that I think we can get in before we have to close it out. But it's the question is: Ohio has a $1 million vaccine lottery. If this is successful in getting more people vaccinated, how would you feel about this? That's interesting.
Well, I wish, makes me want to go get a vaccine again. Go to Ohio, get vaccinated a third time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we could put up $1 million to get people to get vaccinated, but I think, that's what we're seeing. The people, municipalities, whatnot. I think I saw de Blasio, mayor of New York, like basically giving away free hamburgers or something for vaccines.
I saw that actually.
And I think that if it works, that's great. Everybody needs to be vaccinated, so we're wasting get them to be vaccinated. That's terrific. But wow, $1 million.
Not bad, huh?
Get a vaccine and you get put in the pool to get $1 million.
I guess so. I guess whatever it takes, right?
Yeah, and that's being put on by the state of Ohio.
That's. I guess I'm assuming that.
I'm gonna look that up.
We'll have to look that one up. Yeah. Well, it looks like we're about out of time for today, Peter. That went quickly, and once again, thank you for your time. And we'll see you next week at 2:00.
Okay. Try to get out there and enjoy this beautiful day. It looks good through the window.
Oh yeah, and just to remind everybody, tune in for Ladles of Love tomorrow night, 6 to 8. Peter, you won't be playing, unfortunately, like you did last year, but
this year. But it's virtual, and they have some really serious musicians, which is great. And I'm really thrilled to see that. And it's sad, but I'm also glad that the musicians are actually getting some of the relief that's from the proceeds raised from this concert. It's not just the food pantries. Musicians were hit really hard. We have a lot of wonderful, very creative and talented local musicians. And I've been fortunate enough to actually get on stage with a few of them from time to time. And, it's been a tough run for them, and we all need to be supporting them. They support us in so many different ways, fundraisers for people who need medical expenses covered, you name it. They're always there at the forefront of charities and whatnot. So this is our chance to turn around and support them.
Absolutely. And the venues as well. So, but we'll see you next week, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Be safe and stay well, everybody. Enjoy this beautiful weather we have right now.